Welcome back to the Lantern Rouge YouTube channel and to highlights of Stage 3 of the Volta a Catalunya 2021, the first mountain stage. It started at sea level at Canal Olímpic de Catalunya, 188km stage, finishing with the climb to Volta at 2150 meters. The first 10k's of the climb are not particularly steep. The first 5 are pretty much falls flat, but the climb proper is 11.8k's at 7.5% with 2 sustained steep sections with 8 and 5km remaining in the climb. For João Almeida, narrowly in the leader's jersey ahead of Port and Yates, it'd be a matter of conserving his losses on this mountaintop finish. Breakaway went up the road with not too many threatening names, the best climber in that group clearly being Thymen Arensman, the DSM rider you can see in the background. But that break actually became a bit of a problem for the peloton, getting a gap of over 10 minutes with Jumbo-Visma, De Koning Quickstep and Ineos pacing to bring it back. They brought it back to about 5 minutes with 45k's remaining. And I just don't agree with Jumbo-Visma and De Koning Quickstep helping out Ineos to pace. Adam Yates was the favourite for the stage because if they catch the break, even if best case he didn't gap Almeida or Kruijswijk on the climb, he'd still beat them to the bonus seconds. So helping Ineos to pace back a really large gap when they only have Rowe, Dennis and Castroviejo to work on the flat didn't really make sense to me. I think they really played into Ineos' hands in this stage by helping them out. And so going into the base of the climb where the Foz Flat section starts with 20k's to go, the breakaway only had about 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the peloton. That would not be enough given how hard this finish is. The GC team started lining up at the front, almost like they're going into a sprint. Peter Sagan bringing up Wilco Kelderman on the left-hand side, Geraint Thomas third wheel. Ineos were able to put a fresh Rowan Dennis on the front as the gradient kicked up a bit. We know from the Giro last year what he can do to the bunch. Marc Soler somewhat surprisingly dropping immediately with over 10k's to go. And was Alejandro Valverde attacking with over 8k's to go on this climb on the early slopes, marked by Richard Carapaz. And you may be wondering, why is Carapaz marking Valverde? How did Ineos make that decision that he would mark early moves when they've got Adam Yates right there as well? Well, it's because Carapaz lost so much time in the time trial. He's 52 seconds behind Almeida and nearly on the same time as Valverde. Port and Yates, being so close to Almeida, don't need to attack early. They're the protected GC riders. It means that Port, Thomas and Yates don't need to pull. They can sit on the wheels whilst other teams have to chase this move whilst Carapaz gets to sit on Valverde. Kuss marked that move but didn't really pull with Valverde. It all came back together again. Thymen Arensman was up the road, but Valverde wasn't done. This is one of the most impressive performances from Valverde today I've seen in the last couple of years. Looked everyone in the eye and attacked again. Simon Yates had tried to attack or pull a little bit when he bridged across to Valverde's earlier move, but no one responded to him immediately. Nairo Quintana, seeing his former teammate Valverde go up the road, attacked out of the group, and it's Carapaz marking him once again with, I think, Ciccone for Trek Segafredo on his wheel, and the same principle applies with Carapaz bridging across, and all these moves cost Carapaz today. He had to surge multiple times on the early slopes of this climb, but it meant that Masnada had to pace the last domestique for Almeida second wheel, with Thomas, Port and Yates being able to sit on. And we've still got over 5km left in this long climb, which goes up to over 2,000 meters. And so with De Koning Quickstep bringing back that group of 4 of Valverde, Ciccone, Quintana and Carapaz, Adam Yates said thank you very much, attacking across before they'd even been caught, and Valverde was actually able to snap onto his wheel. Kuss was marking Adam Yates. Kruijswijk didn't look good on this stage. He lost quite a bit of time. So Kuss was riding 100% for the stage win and to gain time at this point, not defensively for Kruijswijk. You see the problem for Almeida now. He's got no teammates. We've got 5k's left on the climb and he's got 3 Ineos riders glued to his wheel, 2 of which are not very far behind him in the general classification. And because Adam Yates is so far ahead of Kuss and Valverde on GC after the time trial, putting over 40 seconds into them, he was happy to just ride on the front without them pulling and extend the gap to Almeida. In this instance, the group behind was not working too well, whereas Yates was able to just ride his pace and try and extend that gap as much as possible, until Kuss, with over 2.5k's remaining on the climb, attacked Adam Yates, who was able to snap onto his wheel easily. This wasn't a particularly steep section. Yates then went back onto the front, riding his pace. Valverde chose at this point not to blow up. He dropped off the back of Kuss and started to ride his own pace. Kuss, still on Yates' wheel, but not for long. That acceleration, I think, really cost Sepp Kuss. They were going up to the snow line over 2,000 meters at this point where it should suit him, but Yates was able to drop him in the last 1,500 meters off the wheel and looked like he was riding away to an easy stage win until Esteban Chavez teleported out of nowhere. I know he had attacked at like 4.5 Ks remaining, but we didn't see him on live images for ages, and he was 7 seconds behind Adam Yates at this point, so a massive move from Esteban Chavez. Carthy and Harden van Hoeke were attacking from behind, and with the way Chavez had closed that gap, particularly in the last 2 kilometers, we thought, is he right behind Adam Yates? Is he about to close onto him? He's only 100 meters behind him, but actually Yates was able to extend that gap out from 6 seconds to 13 seconds once again as they got onto the flatter sections at the end of this climb. And for Yates, he didn't need to attack that early. He only had a 7-second deficit to Almeida. He could have attacked in the last 2 kilometers or just waited for the bonus seconds. But if your legs feel good and you're the favorite for the stage, why not put in as much time as possible, taking a big stage win up to Volta, Adam Yates, and setting a new climbing record, 13 seconds ahead of Esteban Chavez for Bike Exchange and Alejandro Valverde 19 seconds back. Some of their best climbing performances in a long time, those two. Really good to see from them. As well as, I think the biggest surprise of the day, Geraint Thomas coming 4th on the stage with a signature last kilometer attack. This bodes really well for Ineos for the Tour de France. This is what Thomas was good at during his peak. Sepp Kuss, however, I think will be ruining attacking Adam Yates so early, especially on a flatter section with so much of the climb to go. I said it on the preview video, I said it in the recap video yesterday. He attacked too early on Jebel Hafid. He just needed to sit as long as possible on Adam Yates, who wouldn't have just sat up because that would have meant he'd lost the advantage. He'd just worked so hard to gain on Almeida and the group behind. So I think that early bridge from Kuss following Valverde and then trying to attack Yates eventually cost him here. But here's the stage results. Adam Yates first, 13 seconds ahead of Esteban Chavez, 19 ahead of Valverde, then Thomas, Van Hoeke, Kuss, Carthy, Woods, Port and Ciccone, all between 30 and 36 seconds back. Adam Yates goes into the leader's jersey and is in what looks like an almost unassailable position in the general classification for this Catalunya. 45 seconds ahead of Port, 50 seconds ahead of Almeida, who's only 3 seconds ahead of Geraint Thomas in 4th. But here's today's Stage 4 profile, a really hard mountain stage, harder than yesterday one would think. 2 HC climbs as well as a Category 1. The second climb, the middle climb of the day, isn't too threatening, 25.5 Ks at 4.2%, but definitely an energy sapper, and the last climb is 18.5 Ks at a consistent 6.5%, except for the last kilometre is quite steep. And you know who that should suit? Sepp Kuss. In the past, he's shown that he has no issue in back-to-back hard mountain stages. Look at Criterium de Dauphiné Stage 5, for example. But the problem is there should be a big break today. Marc Soler losing time. Bit curious, but I'd expect to see 3 or 4 Movistar riders, Samitier, Soler, etc., trying to get into the break today. Ineos with such a dominant position on GC already, I don't think have a big incentive to chase that break down unless there's someone close on GC. If you like the video, like it down below, and I'll see you at the Stage 4 highlights tomorrow. Ciao.